Hi everyone, welcome to our demonstration of how to use Zeeve platform all by yourself. Today we'll be showcasing another new exciting protocol. Uh, it's actually quite old in terms of when we had integrated into Zeeve platform, but today we're going to be covering all the good bits that Zeeve provides to any developers or DevOps engineers who are looking to set up their nodes, networks, endpoints for Polygon. So I'm gonna log into my Zeeve account and we'll get started in just a bit. While I do that, I would like to mention that we have done a series of videos on different protocols and just having an overview of our platform itself. So if you haven't yet, you might want to check out some existing videos, especially for our Zeeve platform's overview, which will give you a good idea about how to use Zeeve platform for various purposes, different services. So here I've logged in with my account that we'll be using for our purpose. And you can see that from the very top, you can see the subscription that you currently have ongoing with Zeeve, the cloud usage that you are doing with Zeeve. All of this is covered into our overview, as I mentioned before. What we can do is we can directly jump into our dedicated node section to first showcase you guys how you can set up your own dedicated nodes. Maybe after that, we can look at RPC endpoints and some of the other services that Zeeve also provides. So when I click on dedicated nodes and the manage service section, I'll be able to see my existing networks. For you, this page might be a little empty. And if you just go ahead and click on add network, you can start with the whole process of setting up your nodes. When you click on add network, Zeeve will bring all your subscriptions that you have purchased so far, and it will bring it onto this screen. So you can see I've got quite a few subscriptions here, and I can select here. Well, I don't have any Polygon, so that is something we can do by clicking on buy subscription. So let me click on buy subscription, and I can see all the list of protocols that Zeeve supports. Here I can select Polygon POS. We also have Polygon Edge as a protocol, which is for the purpose of establishing your own network. We won't be going into the depth of this as we've already covered this in one of the previous videos. So we'll just go with Polygon POS public network. And here I can select the kind of configuration I want to set up my Polygon node. I can select bring your own cloud, selecting my own cloud accounts for setting up the node, or I can select Zeeve managed. So Zeeve supports both kind of capability. I will leave it to Zeeve managed for the time being and just purchase one node for now, but you can enter as many nodes as you want. And just move forward with it. So now when I click on subscribe, I can get redirected to a payments page where I can actually perform my purchase and get the subscription for this. So when I do the purchase, I think we'll get the subscription. So let me just click continue and perform this, and I'll see you in just a bit after performing this action. Yeah, so when you have purchased your node, you will see this screen here. Where you can see the payment has been completed, and you can just go ahead and click on set up the network or the node, where I can again select the subscription which I want to choose for the purpose of my deployment. And here on the top, I can see the Polygon POS subscription is currently present with me, which I can just select for the purpose of deployment, and I can start doing all my configurations from here onwards. So on step 1, I get to select the name of my network. So I'm just going to write Polygon demo node. And here I can set the type of network. So for Polygon, we've got two networks, which is mainnet and MobileNet. You can select either of them. I'll just select the testnet, which is Mumbai. I can even select the deployment type. So native Polygon deployment is what we provide for public network-based setups, where the node will run natively on a VM. You can set the kind of workspace that you want. So I just select public nodes workspace here. So that's where I see my resource being created, and I can just click on next step. On the next step, I can see the configurations of the node that I want to set up. So I can give my RPC username, passwords. I can put on a strong password for my RPC credentials as well. I'll give a name to my node. So I just put on node A, I can enable what kind of services do I want to have running on this node, whether it's HTTPS or WSS or both of them. I can disable different RPC APIs within my node itself, and Zeeve will make sure that these APIs are enabled for consumption for your application. And there's some advanced configurations also that I can go through if I wish to do so. So I can add more boot nodes, seed nodes to my peers. I can set the max peers value, enable IPC server, monkey ID, TX lookup limit, and some configurations for Hamdal as well, which is another service within Polygon POS. I can start exposing Hamdal's APIs as well. So some advanced configurations. If you do not understand them, you can read more about it from Polygon's documentation or our own documentation. But if you don't need such advanced configuration, you can just forget them, and Zeeve will just keep the default values for them and go ahead and click on the next step. Because it's Zeeve managed, all my cloud configurations are handled by Zeeve. So I don't have to worry about the region, the instance type, the different specs of my machine. All of that will be managed by Zeeve itself, and I can just set the region where I want to deploy my node. So Zeeve supports a variety of region, and if, let's say, you do not find the region that you're looking for in terms of deployment, you can reach out to our support and we can enable that region for you as well. So I'll just select Europe West 1 and I'll go ahead and click on create, and Zeeve will check a bunch of things here, that all the cloud validations, everything is right or not. And if there's any issue in terms of your machine specs, what you're trying to deploy, then Zeeve will let you know that this region, this serverity zone might be not present for the kind of deployment that you're trying to do. So here it gives me that the machine that is suggested for this is not readily available for this region that you're choosing. So I'll just go ahead and select a different one for the time being. I could also select Europe region, which is the second region itself of that, but I'll just select Asia Southeast one now. And this time we can see that the deployment has been initiated. I can click on continue. And Zeeve will take about 10 minutes or less to set up the machine. And after that, start provisioning the node, and it will ensure that the node is all readily available to you in a matter of minutes. We don't have to wait for that long, of course. I've got an existing network that I can showcase to you guys anyways. And what happens when you have set up your node and it is all ready for consumption. So I'll show an existing network to you folks, which is again deployed on the testnet, which is what I've selected. And you can see that this network again has only one node present within it. I can choose to delete the node. I can do various actions like stop, restart, check out the analytics of it, the status of it as well. If I want, I can also view the endpoint, and also I can see at which cloud have I deployed this node at for my purpose. So this was deployed on my own cloud account, which was GCP at that very time. If I click view endpoint, I can see the connection details of my node and a bunch of other stuff as well. So this is my HTTP endpoint, WebSocket endpoint. I can see some example code snippets here as well that Zeeve gets. So you can check out different languages for your purpose, and you can use these connection snippets for your own code. You can also see the node information such as Hamdal and Bors, the block height status. Both of them are synced for my node. What are the APIs I've enabled? Any further board configuration that I've also selected. Hamdal's endpoints, if I enabled that, the REST API server, the enable method. So all of these configurations which I chose earlier on are also visible to me. So this network currently only has one node. And if I choose to do so, I can add another node on top of it, or just delete my network entirely. That is, if you want to have a little bit of load balancing present for your application, then you can choose to add multiple nodes within the same network, and Zeeve can actually provide you a load balancing on the top, so that you can actually connect to all the nodes, yet not worry about any such downtimes that may be present for you, for your business. So we can now hop on to our monitoring bits. That's something I'd like to talk about. So Zeeve, again, much like any other protocol, covers two aspects of monitoring. One is your system metrics, where it captures just general details like CPU, RAM, swap, disk, network I/O, and such. And it also covers your blockchain metrics, which in Polygon's case is Polygon board and Polygon Heimdall, the two chains that we run when running a Polygon node. And here again, you can see from the node perspective that the process that we are seeing, what are the different kind of consumption of CPU, RAM, disk, the traffic, the number of peers which are connected to your node, your blockchain height, transaction pool, blocks under processing, transaction propagation time, data rate, all of that fancy bit, which is very specific to the blockchain protocol at hand. So again, if I select Polygon Heimdall, I can see the block height of Heimdall again, quantity tokens, number of validators in the network, the connected peers for Heimdall process, the unconfirmed transactions, failed transactions, if any, recheck times, all of that good bit again here. So one of the good bits that Zeeve provides with all this information is not just monitoring, but it can also provide you alerts on basis of these metrics. Let's say if your block height isn't changing in last number of seconds, which is unusual for Polygon, then you'll get an alert out to you. Or let's say for some reason the number of peers has gone beyond a certain threshold, then again you'll get an alert saying that your node has lesser number of peers than what it's supposed to have, and maybe this requires some attention. So our Zeeve experts can hop in, and you yourself, taking into consideration with your consent, we can do whatever needs to be done to improve that very situation. So this is what we provide in terms of monitoring for Polygon POS node, and it keeps you on top of your node, making sure that everything is done the right way, and you get maximum time, the best quality services when you need it. So I think that covers majorly all of our deployment. You can even choose to upgrade your node to a higher machine, lesser machine by just talking to our experts. And if there's any need in terms of setting up your node that you need from our support staff, again, that we can help come up and help your application, your project for any purpose. So that's dedicated node setup. I'll quickly just run through our RPC APIs as well. So we provide API services for Polygon as well, where you can just click on add RPC endpoint, and it will ask you the kind of subscription that you want to create this endpoint under again. So let me select the launch plan. I can give my RPC any endpoint, so I'll just write Polygon Polygon RPC endpoint, and I can set the workspace where I want this to be presented again. So I set the public nodes again. I can set the protocol that I want to create this endpoint for, select the network, whether it's mainnet or Mumbai, and just click on next. I can again configure some security bits, much like how we do it for any of the protocol. But if you want, you can actually just enable JWT checks as well, so that every HTTP call that you do will have JSON Web Token present as part of the header, and that is also something that Zeeve will make a check for. So while you maintain the private key of the JWT token yourself, you can configure your public key here, and that's just added security if you wish to have so. But this is optional. Zeeve also already makes sure that your RPC endpoint is secure in other ways, and we'll just go ahead with the default configuration considering that. So I'll click on submit, and my RPC endpoint will be created at that very point. So this is my endpoint, and here we can see that all the configuration that I chose. If I wish, I can even enable my JWT security access later on, and I can see what kind of plan is associated to my endpoint, what is the consumption of it, what network is it connected to. If I want, I can edit the name of my endpoint, of course, and these are the final endpoints to which I can connect to and start doing actions towards. These are the example code snippets again, which I can write, which I can incorporate within my application, connect to my RPC endpoint, and start doing all the good stuff. I can also look at some metrics. So what is the kind of consumption, success rate, total requests, what are the recent methods, and the method calls that I'm calling on this Polygon endpoint as well. I can check all of those metrics as well when I start consuming my endpoint more and more. So that's how easy it is. In a couple of clicks, you can just set up your own endpoint and get started. And Zeeve supports that you can create your own endpoint for free. And as you can see, if I open these RPC APIs section in the Buy Services tab, you can see that these are the current plans, and developer plan gives you 10 million API credits for free, so you can use it for any protocol that you wish to do so, and you can use it for Polygon POS then again, of course. So that covers our Polygon bit. One thing I'd like to mention is that Zeeve has recently also provided support for Polygon ZK EVM, which is the latest support that Polygon has provided in terms of projects that it is continuing with. And while we are working with Polygon SuperNest, Polygon Edge, Polygon ZK EVM is our latest edition. And if you are looking to get APIs for Polygon ZK EVM or have your own dedicated node, you can reach out to us and we can help you set up those services as well. So yeah, that's our demonstration on Polygon. And if there's anything more that you would like to look at or find here, then you can reach out to us. We have our social presence on Discord, on Telegram, on LinkedIn, and other channels, of course. I would highly recommend that you subscribe and check out our other videos covering different protocols, different services, and you may just find something that is of high interest to you. So thanks a lot for joining in, and hope to see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.